What's up, everybody? This is That Weird Show, and I am your weird host, of course, The Shadow. And this is going to be, a pretty fun show. It's called, I've kind of given it a name, Halloween Weirdness. And I've got a couple of guests that are going to join me here in just a quick second. But before I do that, I do want to make a couple of quick shout outs. And the first one being is that this is being streamed on Parapost Network Central. If you don't know what that is a podcast platform that you can find on Facebook where you find all kinds of shows like the paranormal, cryptid, UFOs, conspiracies, and weird shows like this. And they even have other shows where they talk about TV, such as the Big Brother show. And check them out on Facebook, show them support. If you have a podcast of your own, you can get your show streaming on Parapost for free. So check them out and let's share our stories. Also, this show is sponsored by Health Empowers You, and I'll just let this guy speak for himself.
You know it's coming. The zombie apocalypse. Everybody building underground shelter, storing food, stashing weapons. But how's your health? Are you able to outrun a zombie horde at a dead run? Stop by healthempowers.net today and get your copy of over 200 smoothie recipes. They're a smoothie to boost your immunity, cognitive function, or energy right when you need it most. And use this promo code and get 5% off your order. So stop by healthempowers.net today. Before it's too late.
That's right, folks. Healthempowers.net. Check out their smoothie recipes and use the promo code TWS05 and get 5% off. All right, enough with this nonsense. Let's get on into the meat of the show, and I'm going to bring on some guests. The first one, you've seen him on this show before, and you've seen me on his show. He is a fellow shit kicker, hornet kicker, and any other kind of kicker, and he is also the Jack Russell Terrier of bad ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Barron.
What's up, everybody? Damn right.
And also joining us is his, and I do not use this lightly, his better half. You've seen her on YouTube and Facebook. She is the host of
Creepy Cult.
Thank you.
Welcome.
It was right at the tip of my brain, and then
if I would have forgotten it, I would have been a hit.
Oh yeah, but please welcome.
I'm looking.
The Wicca Queen herself. Oh, what happened here? I hate Restream. All right, there we go. Forgive me. I'm still trying to remember Restream. It's been a while.
I'm a sweater that says thick thighs and witchy vibes.
All right. Well, thank you both for coming in. I definitely think that it's going to be a fun show because I know Wicca Queen, you are a avid lover of Halloween.
That's an understatement.
A little bit.
Yeah, I think you and my wife will get along because my wife has all kinds of. You know how during Christmas time people buy those little houses that light up and you can build your own village. She got those, but it's all Halloween themed. And anything Nightmare Before Christmas, she got it, or I bought it for her. Yeah. So yeah, I think you and my wife would get along pretty well.
If she could buy a spirit Halloween and live in it, she'd be okay.
Yeah,
oh yeah. Well, see, that would be more of a me thing than my wife.
No, that'd be us.
Yeah.
It'd be a different costume each day.
I would live in the Wicca section though, like with all the books and the Spirit Halloween, and then he would live in the section with all the animatronics.
I'd be everywhere. I'd be in the ceiling.
Yeah, I was just in Spirit Halloween a few days ago.
It's a dangerous place.
We need to go back.
Dangerous. Especially for our field. That is a very dangerous place.
Well, I'm trying. I'm kind of liking this camera angle, but I want to do something where I had my other angle toward behind me, but I want to get something to put on that wall besides just my um, obviously old ass Star Wars nerd replica of the original Star Wars release poster from 1970s, licensed and numbered. Um, but I want to put something next to it, and I thought, maybe like get some sort of zombie tapestry, or maybe like an open casket kind of tapestry on that back wall. But then I got to think about my nieces and nephew coming over.
No, this is true. I will say this though, I am really jealous of your keyboard. And it's real pretty. Mine changes colors, which is cool, and I like it. But
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh my.
yeah.
yeah,
I just got I just got for my birthday a keyboard that looked like the old 1920s typewriter
oh, I've
keys,
seen those.
and it lights up. I got one for my birthday. I love it.
Oh, I was looking at that. Actually, I was looking at a Stitch one too.
Hmm.
Walmart had them.
Yep.
I wanted the Harry Potter one with all the houses.
Yeah, we found a Harry Potter one that had all the houses on it, and it was a complete set. It had like the mouse with it too, and it was pretty sick.
The mouse was the sorting hat.
Was it?
Yeah, I had a picture of the sorting hat.
Oh, I thought it just had Hogwarts' emblem on it.
Well, there was one with Hogwarts emblem on it, and then there was one with the sorting hat.
Oh.
They had two different ones.
Oh.
But the keyboard was the same. It was just the mouse that was different. I wanted the one with the sorting hat as the mouse.
I was more into the Stitch one, so I wasn't paying that much attention.
So, what has been your favorite costume from your very first one to your recent one? And I am not going to include what goes on in the bedroom.
I'm out.
That's not exactly Halloween, but
It is
So,
spooky.
the first costume I ever had, and I remember this because my grandmother and my mom handmade it. It was a pumpkin. I was just a giant fabric pumpkin in elementary school.
That's actually
Right.
cool. I think for me, I gotta go. If it's my all-time favorite, I have to go with what I'm doing this year, and that would be just a black mask. I've got a black morph suit. I freak people out. I scare people. I love it.
I think my favorite one though is my fursuit when I go as blue.
Yeah.
Because I get a lot of people's attention. I get people like walking by like, "Oh, can I get a picture with you?"
Like we did with the pair.
Yeah, I've never had that with any of my costumes other than blue.
Yeah. Yeah, our fursuits are definitely the most out there.
I would love to have my Remus suit done though. He's like a lizard kind of, but he's got real sharp teeth and he looks fucking nasty. He's the one I really want to wear for Halloween, but my friend hasn't finished him.
right.
Yeah.
Well, mine would have to be one that I made. Gosh, had to be about 20 years now, maybe more. But this came out shortly after Star Wars Episode 1, probably the one with Darth Maul.
Yeah.
And I was inspired by the crown that he had, so I carved out a set of my own. And then I ended up taking the clear fishing line that you use for like air hoses on your fish tank.
Mm-hmm.
Got a couple lengths of those, and then I got those glow-in-the-dark necklaces that you can snap and they glow.
Yeah.
Put those inside; they fit inside those two perfectly. And I had 4, 2 on each side of my face, branching out and then connecting on a piece in the back. So I looked like something out of an island of Dr. Moreau.
That's awesome.
You
Well,
know,
we
I mean, it's simple stuff like that is always fun, but then you have to get those really elaborate ones. So I mean, it's kind of hard to decide which one's your favorite.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've seen Hell of a Boss or Has Been Hotel. That is one of our favorite shows. And there's two characters. There's a husband and wife on Hell of a Boss, Moxie and Millie. The original plan for this year was for us to be them, but that might have to be a next year thing. Or maybe we'll just do it just because. I don't know.
We want to... You can buy the costumes, but I want to make them.
No.
Right.
The Millie one was cute.
Well, I might have to buy at least the top because I don't think I'm gonna find anything like close to it. But we could make the tail. It's just foam.
Yeah,
And then you just have a string tied to your back so the tail stays up so it doesn't drag.
true.
We know how to fursuit. All we would need is the fabric too.
Don't give me ideas.
I told you we could make the tails.
No, this is true.
Why would we spend like almost $100 on 2 costumes when we could basically make them
Because
So
it's me.
yeah,
for like $50? Both of them for $50.
so yeah. Tanner says he hasn't seen you guys on a podcast together in a while.
I've been taking a break.
Yeah.
It's hard with my new schedule at my job because I work 8 days to get 2 days off and 7 days to get 4 days off.
Yeah. And Raymond also says hello. Raymond Newsom.
What's up, man?
For those of you that are listening, Tanner Rutledge has a show called Ghost Hunter Advice.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever want to learn about the paranormal, check that out. He got all kinds of great advice about equipment, style, techniques, things like that. And then if you ever want to have a guy on your team while you're gaming that'll just run his mouth and start shit and basically initiate a clusterfuck of fuck me's, you want Raymond Newsom on your team. Guaranteed.
And if you ever want to get the Wicca Queen on a show, Halloween, Wicca, cryptids, anything creepy like that, that's your that's the hook.
Not just
So
that.
one more question before I get into another area of Halloween. If money wasn't an issue, if availability wasn't an issue, what would be the one Halloween costume you would want?
Go ahead, B.
That's hard. I've never actually thought about that.
I got mine right away.
Well, you go.
Well, well, there's actually two. I'd either go as Alistair from Has Been Hotel. If you don't know who that is, look him up. He is what's called the Radio Demon. Love everything about him. Everything about him. Love just the look, everything. Or just because I know there's a lot of people it would annoy, and I would really enjoy doing it. Joe Paterno. Joe Pa.
I don't know. The only one that I can really think of, and it's just because I remember it so much growing up and how badly I wanted to be one, Ghostbusters, the original.
You know,
the whole outfit, the pack, light up everything. I can't help it. I mean, I love that movie.
it is a great movie. Absolutely great movie. And Bill Murray and the entire cast were just phenomenal. I even was so happy to see him do their cameo. But I don't know, like for me, like being in the paranormal field, it's too, it's too close. I mean, hell, the theme song comes on at work and they all look at me and I'm like, what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, leave it to Raymond.
Oh no, I know.
Uh-oh.
It's from an anime. His name is Elias. He's a mage, and he's got a skull head.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Ancient Mage's Bride.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Ancient Mage's Bride. Yeah, I would love to go as him, but his costume on Amazon is like $250.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not a costume that you can just kind of like slap a couple of pieces of fabric and call it good and sell it on Walmart.
Yeah, no. Or a Spirit Halloween or anything like that. That's something that has to be like tailor made to the person, especially the mask. Because if the mask doesn't fit, then it's not a costume.
Right.
Although I will say, since we're speaking of costumes, I know there's been a lot of people out there now, like getting the furry mask, the box
Mm,
mask from Spirit Halloween with the movable jaw.
yeah.
Tried
Does
it.
it move?
Tried it.
It's not that great.
If you want to get into it, maybe it has a good base, but not as it's not practical. I
No.
tried it. Tried walking around. Tried yelling through it.
The jaw doesn't move. It doesn't open when your mouth moves.
It doesn't
so
sit
when
right.
You're talking, the jaw doesn't open. You have to open your mouth real wide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the padding's supposed to be down here, so when you talk, it drops. But the padding sits in the front, and no matter how
Yeah.
you adjust it, yeah.
I've got a skull that does that. And I mean, I have it, because I do like the way it looked. But yeah, that was the first problem I had was getting the jaw to move in sync with what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't, and I'm not trying to open my mouth and let everybody see what the fuck's going on in my mouth. I don't want to have to open it that way just to get the damn thing to work.
See, a lot of people think that these movable, and I've looked into it like extensively. They think that that plate that drops the jaw is up on front here, when in actuality it's not. It's an
It
actual
needs to be a chin strap.
chin strap. It's a
Yep.
chin strap with a spring on it that you have to basically go from your temple down to your jaw.
See, but the ones that the con we go to are like that. It's a basically a full strap that goes down.
Yeah.
And expensive.
Yeah, they're like $400, $450, $500.
Yeah.
You guys think the
But they're-
paranormal's expensive?
But they're homemade.
Try
That's
looking
why
at the
they're so
fursuits.
expensive.
Fursuits are
because
expensive.
People have put so much time and money into making these to make sure that they work, that they want that money back, which is fair for the craftsmanship they put
Right.
into it.
Yeah.
And I know this very well because my biologic father, he's gay, and his lover Ron are both Star Trek fans. And I've seen this picture, and I'll explain why, regardless of it being a homosexual picture and me being heterosexual. I mean, that's just personal preference. This picture was amazing. My dad went as a Ferengi whore. He got the whole head thing with the metal thing around the back, negligee, the stockings with the garters, and the whole 9 yards. Even did the nose. And then his lover went as a Borg whore. And he made this wig that looked like it was an afro that was made out of bar straws that were cut at weird angles and painted black. He made the eyepiece, had the cybernetic boobs hanging out all over the place. I mean, it was just awesome.
If only I had the legs.
Another time, and this one is actually my other favorite one. This was something they did back after my parents divorced. My dad went as Cocaine, and Ron went as Mary Juana. So what they did is they got like the huge garbage bag or sheets of plastic, and they sealed up the edges, and they made what looked like giant baggies. My dad put those white balls you see in beanbag chairs inside, so it looked like he was like a bag of cocaine. And then Ron just had pine needles in his, so he looked like a bag of weed. And they both had hats. My dad with a giant plate with a couple of lines cut out, ready to go, and the $100 bill rolled up. And then Ron actually went and got these huge cooking sheets and folded a bunch of them. And he would walk around and pull out zigzag out of his hat and hand them out to people as he was walking by.
Okay, they win.
Of course, gay people, they're going to win when it comes to a costume contest. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They just dress so much better.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on some of Tristan's.
Oh my gosh. No, leave TT out of this.
No, it wasn't anything bad. He just we had a whole costume thing planned, and he would be the one that would go all out compared to the rest of us.
Right.
And we're just like, we had this planned. It was just basic. Why'd you have to go the extra mile and make the rest of us look bad?
It's TT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and thanks for stopping by, Brian Laverty. Brian Laverty is the man you want to talk to if you want to get your show on Parapro.
Hi, Brian. I'm back.
I'm back, bitches.
For now. Since you've been wondering.
So, okay, so this first thing I'm going to bring up, I think it's very, uniquely relevant because it has a little bit of something that we all do. And it deals with a subject that has taken the country by storm. And we're going back to 1936.
Ooh,
Small town in New
real
Jersey.
OG.
Mm-hmm.
Real OG.
Yeah, and this is the night of War of the World being broadcast on the radio wave. And at one point, it had over 12 million listeners, which in 1936 really says something. I mean,
yeah,
that's just so mind blowing. And a fraction of those, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, were so convinced that it was real, they panicked. This was a real thing. And here we are, podcasters. We talk about the paranormal, and especially all of us. We talk about the paranormal, and I'm sure one of you has had an experience where somebody took what you said a little too far or a little too seriously. Excuse me. So, what are your thoughts on how in 1936 that many people could be taken? I mean, a UFO of all things can just drive an entire town batshit crazy.
Well, I mean, back then, radio was king. Everybody got their news, their information, everything from the radio. Like
Right.
that was the news outlet. I mean, obviously newspapers and everything, but radio is a lot faster as far as getting information.
If you had money, you had a radio.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mhm.
I mean, it's the equivalent. I mean, I can't even say of TV anymore, but it's just the equivalent of like Facebook, or anything. And they didn't have these. How do I want to say this? They didn't have the skepticism. They didn't have the Karens of the world. They didn't have. They were innocent, and I use that term loosely. And if they said it on the radio, entertainment or not, they believed it.
Right.
I mean, look at the Cold War. Look at all the scares with the nuclear bombs and everything else. Look at what happened with all that.
Oh, I remember that. I mean, I'm old enough to where I remember nuclear bomb drills in school.
Yeah, we had them. We had them too. And back then, when somebody says something like that, like the World of Worlds, they took that as legit.
See, here's the thing, though, that doesn't make any sense. Is they had just radio broadcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they had shows and stuff on the radio that everybody knew were shows.
Because they were advertised as shows. The whole World of World thing wasn't advertised.
I know, that's why everybody thought it was real.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and I'm pretty sure also a lot of it stems from the fact that if there was anything that may have given it away in the beginning, they probably didn't tune in until a little later anyway, after the story had already started to build up.
Yeah.
And
like we do with TVs now. They were probably flipping through the channels and heard something interesting.
And, again, 1936, 12 million people listening.
People were running to the neighbors. Turn your radio on. It was.
Oh, absolutely. You want to talk about a wildfire effect.
I think the only thing equivalent that we could even imagine happening anymore would be if the government said, "Hey, purge night." I know I'll be skipping, but I mean that would cause a lot of hysteria.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened on 9/11. We just celebrated the anniversary.
Oh man, the day that happened, I woke up, got in my truck, and was driving to work. And I kept hearing something about planes and jets scrambling. And I was, on the radio. I was like, so I just turned it off because I, wasn't ready to deal with that.
Yeah.
And I'm at the gas station, and I'm like, holy shit! Every pump had a line. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And I finally get up to the pump, and I'm pumping gas, and my truck gas port was at a weird angle, so I had to hold the nozzle strange. And every once in a while, if I wasn't careful, a little gas would come spit back out. Well, a little bit did, and I had somebody looking at me like I just spilled somebody's blood.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be until I finally got to work, and they were like, yeah, dude, the Twin Towers just got hit. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Who's gonna fucking fly a plane into the building in the United States? Which goes to show just how stupid I was in thinking that America is so awesome and perfect. Clearly, things things went wrong real fast.
Well, you
But
weren't alone in that mindset. We all were.
mhm,
I mean, before 9/11, everybody thought U.S. was the power. We were it. We were impenetrable.
I didn't. I was in kindergarten.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
I think I was in kindergarten or first grade. But I remember our teachers saying, "We're not allowed to leave the room.
mhm,
Call all your parents. You're going home early.
yeah,
Just stay in the room."
But I mean, and you take any event, 9/11, COVID, any of these mass events, and I mean, it can have a devastating effect, and that's the good thing, but also a bad thing about what we do as
yeah,
as podcast and podcast hosts, because you never know which video is going to go viral.
I haven't had any yet.
Well, none of us have. I mean, in actuality, and it's nothing against any of our, Parapost family or anything, but like,
People don't like my Call to the Lamb video.
but it only takes one video, and anything that is said during that video could be to somebody made truth.
right.
It's a little cutesy lamb game and nobody likes it.
But on the other side of that, though, I mean, the other thing that I find just absolutely amazing is the amount of effort that went into the behind the scenes production of the sound effects,
Oh yeah,
the change up, and all this stuff, and the ability to just deliver their line in a convincing manner that would make people who just happen to tune in think, "Oh shit, this is actually happening. This is real." There was no CGI. There was no $50,000 sound, touchpad soundboard and with programmable effect, and none of that. This was just phenomenal.
tin can microphone.
Hmm.
Now, what really fascinates me isn't the actual broadcast itself; it's the planning prior,
Hmm.
because that would have to take a lot of planning, a lot of and nobody said a word.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if it's me. I have a big mouth. If I'm doing something like that, I'll be coming home and I'll be bragging to the Wicked Queen. I'll be like, "You need to listen to this. This is going to be funny,"
Yeah.
And there were people still like that back in the day, but it wasn't like, I don't think, that might have been just as nuts as us.
Yeah. Another good example of that kind of production was the first Blair Witch. How they kept their story intact until they couldn't. The movie itself wasn't what sold it. The fact that nobody could find them, and they were able to stay low and play off on that for so long.
Yeah.
I love that shit. Sell the story.
Well,
So what has been some of the? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say it really, with a lot of these different movies and plays and stuff like that, it's how you sell it. Like, think of Robert Downey Jr. He's like the biggest one. I'm sorry, no matter what movie he's in, he's Iron Man to me. I see Iron Man. Just like Daniel Radcliffe. I don't care what he's playing. He's Harry Potter.
I had that same issue, and me personally, I'm not a fan of Radcliffe. You can hate me. You can hiss at me. You can. I don't care. I don't think Radcliffe is all that. He's not bad. He is good, but he's only good in my eyes.
Fair
I
enough.
will say the one movie that I did like him in was it was a movie, and he was going to some house out in the moors. Lady in Black, I think it was.
Oh, Woman in Black.
Woman in Black. Yes, thank
Yeah, I
you.
went to see that in theaters. I like that one.
Yeah, I would actually I would give him props on that one. I thought he did good with that.
Not
And
me.
well, you're just mad that you just can't rock that outfit like he can.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
agreement.
He's never seen the movie. I tried to get him to watch it with me, and he won't.
Mm.
Wait, is it
Just
one of those
watch.
horror movies?
Yes.
It is a horror movie, yes.
Oh, that's why. I don't.
But it has Daniel Radcliffe
Radcliffe?
in it, and I thought you would like it.
Now,
You know me.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. This movie, and I actually enjoyed it because it's not your typical flashy horror movie. This is more of a slow burn type that has an actually a really decent storyline to it.
Hmm.
And the way the mystery gets solved, how, I don't want to say too much because I definitely think you should at least watch it one time.
So it's more like a suspense mystery horror mix.
Well,
Yeah, with some
Yeah.
good graphics.
Okay. See, here's the problem, and the Wicked Queen will attest to this. I'm a
Yeah, all
pain
I'm
in
hearing
the
right now
ass.
is bok 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 bok.
No, I'm just a pain in the ass. I'm a pain in the ass when it comes to horror movies.
we went to go see the new It movie, and I hate clowns. I'm a colorophobic. I will admit that.
Which I don't understand why she wanted to go see it, but
Because it was the new one,
fair enough.
and the new one, it wasn't as scary for the most part because the clown that they portrayed as It looks more like a jester than a clown.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Pennywise did get a little bit of an upgrade, but no, the entire time.
But that
during,
didn't scare me. What scared me was when he turned into the regular clown.
see,
Yeah.
see, my problem is with horror movies. I pick them apart from a paranormal perspective.
He wouldn't
My
shut
investigator pop, just
I know. I get the same way, and
I will actually talk out loud. Like during it, we were, and we're talking not chapter 2, the newest version.
I
of it.
couldn't go see chapter 2. He
I-
looked too much like a clown.
I was literally sitting there. Well, he could be a demon, or he could be this, or he could be that, and I'm
mhm.
picking it apart. Same thing with The Conjuring. That's how I am with any horror movie. I will sit there and I will pick it apart from a
Well,
paranormal
he picked apart
perspective.
The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2, and then The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, because he met.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that shit.
Uh,
That does scare me. Flashbacks.
Well,
Ed and Lorraine Warren. He met both.
I didn't meet Ed and Lorraine. I wanted to meet Ed and Lorraine.
I thought
I
you
met
did.
the actors.
Oh,
I met
you
the
met the
actors who
actors.
portrayed them. In the very first Conjuring, when she had the Dibbit box,
yeah.
when the little girl got the Dibbit box, I was actually at that premiere. Then I got to meet the actors and actresses. They're all very, very nice people. Very nice people. Little girl was a little bitch, though, but she was still nice.
Well, that's how
So-
most child actors are. So.
Kind of along this subject, what has been the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you on Halloween?
I don't think I can talk about that legally. Wait, what? How long is statute of limitations in PA?
10 years.
Don't get the wrong idea, people. I mean, this is, well, I do have the disclaimer at the bottom. It is an NC-17 show. NC-17 show.
Okay, I will say this. So, Halloween, when I was out in San Diego, the paranormal team and I were doing a little event. And we ended up losing our group. We lost about 12 people in a wooded area that is notoriously haunted. No idea where they went. Cars were still in the parking lot. We couldn't find them anywhere. That was probably the weirdest for me that I can legally say.
Okay.
Mine was I was trick-or-treating in middle school, and we were in my best friend's neighborhood, his little cul-de-sac, and we were walking up the hill because he lived in the lower lot, and then the lot above them was the more rich kids.
Mhm.
And he knew that their parents were giving out full-size candy bars, so he's like, why don't we go up there? So we start walking up, and there's this, I've told you this story, the werewolf.
I was gonna say, if you say any story besides the werewolf story, yeah.
Yeah, it was werewolf. I swear to this day it was a werewolf because it was way too big to be a bear. It was about as tall as the lamp post, which is the real tall ones. When it stood up on its hind legs, we seen that and we ran. That was the weirdest thing. Was I swear I seen a werewolf, and I will swear that till the day I die. Prove me wrong.
If I was a kid, that would scare the shit out of me. But now, as an adult, my initial reaction is, "Where the fuck is my camera?"
Puppy.
Oh, if I've seen it now that I'm older, I would definitely be like, "Come here."
What that dog do? What that dog do?
Yeah.
If you
And of
know,
course,
you know.
And just to show you how weird my family is, if that was my mother would be like, "Oh, I got some dog treats in the van. Hold on, I'll be right back."
Come here, puppy.
Yeah.
Who's a good boy?
Yeah, she does that in real life because when I was in Louisiana, she was always going off like every couple of days somewhere, and she would always load these huge bags of dog food and gallons of water. And I was like, "Mom, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I gotta take care of these dogs that live under this house." And I go out there, and these are some of the biggest, gnarliest looking dog you will ever see, and they're feral dogs.
Ooh,
Yeah, they're dogs that would just like run wild.
yeah.
And my mom comes rolling up, and she jumped out of the van. "Hey, everybody, I'm here!" And these big monster dogs come out of the bushes like out of a fucking horror movie. And they're all wagging their tail. They're loving on my mom, and I get out, and of course they just stare at me. And my mom's like, "Oh, don't worry, he's fine, he's fine." And I would go out there with my mom and take care of these dogs.
Well, and that
But
just goes to show
eventually,
you.
somebody did slip them some uh, antifreeze.
Aw.
Devastated my mom. She went out there and she found them that way.
If I would have found that person, I would have fed them antifreeze.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, no, there. I've always lived by a simple philosophy. I'll go to jail for my family, and I'll go to jail for an animal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just.
You're talking to a guy who yells at deer.
Not just you.
Oh yeah, I trained. Yeah, you got doing it too.
I do it at work now when I see him in the fields.
You go deer yelping.
I seen one the other day with her kids, and I was like, "Oh, those kids, yours, they're adorable."
Mm-hmm.
I asked for directions. And believe it or not, if you're ever in Pennsylvania, for some reason in our area, the deer understand Spanish. I don't get it, but they do.
Joanne's never seen Annabelle 2. Annabelle 2 I went and seen in theaters. It's not that great.
I prefer the real Annabelle.
The first one was a lot better.
Just like Robert the Doll. I'd rather see the real
Well,
one.
the second one's basically about this paraplegic girl who's can't use her legs. She's in a wheelchair, and she gets possessed by the doll.
Better get pictures.
To start killing people. And starts killing everybody in the house. Like, it's stupid. And to make it worse, I went with my ex-boyfriend, who is absolutely terrified of horror films.
He's afraid of his own shadow. He sees his shadow and thinks there's somebody following him.
But yeah, the second one, Joanne, was not that great. The first one is so much better.
Miss you, Pam.
Thanks for stopping by, Pam. And got Pam saying hi to Raymond. Sorry if I'm slipping on the comments a little bit. I kind of got caught up in the conversation.
That never happens.
Yeah. But, you know, when it comes to weird things, there's a cryptid not far from where I live called the woolly beast of Linwood. And a lot of people think it's just a deer that has some sort of abnormality. So he was unusually large, and he was also white. And he has slightly shaggy fur. But nobody's been able to catch him. Nobody's been able to track this thing. And too many people have seen it. And I actually tried to go look for this thing around Halloween a couple years ago with my paranormal team.
Hmm.
Never found it, but we did get some really weird stuff, such as a moving ball of EMF energy.
Huh.
And I wish my external drive hadn't crashed. I got to find somebody that can, retrieve the information off of it.
Yeah.
But on it, I have a video of my K2 going off full stop red. Wouldn't come off of it on either side of the truck. We're talking about 12 feet distance. And this thing was still pinging red. We turned off the truck, turned everything off, still pinging red. And then all of a sudden it started to just kind of gradually dissipate down. Then we're like, okay, it's gone. Well, we started driving and we came around a bend and we picked it up again. Apparently it was moving in a straight line over water. And we
Well, that
ran
makes
out, ran
sense.
into it again.
Well, that makes sense with the whole water thing.
Yeah. So that's the
Huh.
weirdest Halloween thing that's happened to me.
Well, I mean, this wasn't Halloween, but when we had our team out here in Pennsylvania, Wolfies, there
Mhm.
is a legend of basically another werewolf legend.
It was a little bit after Halloween. It was only like the first week in November we went out there.
We went out there a couple times. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the time where we actually had to pull firearms.
Oh, I wasn't there for that.
Oh,
I
well,
was there when we got there, and then you told all of us to get back in the car, and we did.
yeah.
That was
So-
like the first week in November, right after Halloween.
So we went out there this one time, and we were just checking it out. Just basically your classic werewolf legend type thing, right? So this place is literally in the middle of nowhere.
Bumfuck.
No cell service, no nothing.
Right.
And out in the middle of the country, 2-lane highway, woods everywhere.
Yeah, if you get
overgrown.
stranded there,
You're screwed.
You're screwed. Unless somebody comes by.
Yeah. And there's this old farmhouse that's still somewhat standing. It's all gutted and everything. It's overgrown. And we went out to check out this legend, Wolfman. And we did a loop around and parked on the opposite side of the street. And we were all standing there. We were looking. Kept seeing a light come from the house. Couldn't figure it out. We had flashlights going. We saw a couple of shadows. We're a little, okay, maybe it might be light play. It might be this, might be that. Then we heard a loud bang, like from the brush. And if anybody's been out in the woods and you know what I'm talking about, that huge boom, brush fall, like push over sound.
Yeah, you hear the branches snap, leaves rustling. You can feel it in the ground.
Oh yeah, we heard it, but it was just one single bang, and it was enough till we all went for the hip, so to speak. And we're like, "What was that?" So we kept hearing these footsteps, but they didn't sound like animal. They sounded like human, like somebody was walking. So
Bipedal gait.
pretty much. And we had the flashlights up, couldn't see anything, nothing was moving, and all of a sudden the sound got louder and faster. So we drew and went, like you would, and we saw there's a hill, and we saw the brush literally fold apart, but we didn't see anything with it. We just saw the brush parting. We jumped into the
Sounds
vehicle.
like an elemental.
In a sense, yeah. We jumped into the truck, and the truck that we had was mine, and it was like souped up, so it moved, and we took off. And we sped. I mean, you're talking middle of the night. There's nobody around, so we were being safe about it.
Yeah, when I went with you, you didn't have the truck. You had the white Pontiac.
Yeah.
So I wasn't with you then.
Okay. And when you're on a back road and you hit your brake lights, you can see behind you. You can see the trees. You can see everything. We're going on this old country road. I'm almost at triple digits. I tap my brakes. I see nothing behind me. Just complete black behind me.
Right.
And this lasted for about 7 miles. So I don't know what was chasing us or what was behind us, but the whole atmosphere just changed.
Well, this wasn't on Halloween, but it was right around fall. I've talked about this before. A series of caves along the Mississippi River called the Wabasha Street Caves,
Mhm.
and there's two things. One, there is a particular cave called the Altar, and they've tried to blast that shut, and when that didn't work, they tried to fill it up with cement. And okay, so to get into it's first off, the cave opens up, and then it narrows down to like a needle's eye, and you have to do the arm tucked in and belly crawl to get
Ugh,
through it.
too fat for
You know,
that.
well, I mean, even a slightly big guy can do it, but I'm claustrophobic, so even if I was a string bean, fuck no.
Fair enough.
And it's only like a couple of feet, but it opens up, and on the back wall is this huge altar with an upside down pentagram, and the back wall was carved out to have candle holders at each point. And the night that I was there to go check it out, before I found out about the needle die, I'm sitting in the main cavern and I see my buddy's feet sticking out. And all of a sudden I hear, nope, 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 nope. And he's panicking. He's trying to get out. And he takes off, and we all start running after him. And come to find out, the time he went in there, the candles were lit and there was something wet on the altar.
Mm.
Just missed it.
Well, that's not. It's somewhat like when we went to St. Mary's. It's a cemetery out in near us, and it's a good cemetery. It's got a lot of activity, a lot of fun. It's a great investigation.
It's got guardians.
Yeah, it's got guardians. It's got a grim running around. It's a lot of fun. We ran across a Wicca altar, and we saw one that was it? Yeah, that was pointing north. It was pointing north. It was an earth. Was it an earth altar? It wasn't a fire altar.
No.
Was it a wind? It had to have been
Yeah.
a wind. Anyway, it was a positive. It was a positive Wicca altar, just sitting there, and we were like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." We didn't know there was a Wicca coven around. You know.
Yeah, and
that
then
did
Jared
this.
went to touch some shit, and I smacked him.
We're not going to go there.
He went
But-
to go pick something. He seen something sitting on the altar and was like, "Oh, this is nice," and went over to pick it up.
It
And
was
I
a
was like,
feather.
"Don't fucking touch that."
It was an eagle
Yeah.
feather.
Yeah, I was like, "Don't take it. That's not yours."
So now what was really interesting was it was lined up like there's a crucifix in the cemetery, and it was perfectly north to south of this crucifix. So I'm like,
They
that's kind
probably
of weird.
measured it. I told you they measured it.
Yeah, so it was just kind of odd to me that just the direction it was. Like, I mean, you're talking like the cross arm was
Mhm.
straight at it. So I was like, I wonder something. Something just didn't seem right to me with them doing it right there. So we walked to the other side of the cemetery. Come to find out, there was a dark altar on the same side, on the south side of it, lined up perfectly. It had blood sacrifices. It had a broken glass. It had alcohol. It had flame. It had candle. It had everything. It had everything there. So what?
Bunch of small animal skulls.
So what we are figuring is that the coven heard about what they were doing, so they went to go balance it out. Either way, it was weird.
Right.
Never did find who was doing it though.
I don't think they've been back out there because the last time we were out there, it was all overgrown.
Yeah, well, that was not long after we saw that black mass, that 8-foot black mass with red eyes. Well, I saw it because I was trying to go take a piss. I went to go take a piss and turned the corner of the overburden mound, and there was this, literally. So to put it in perspective, you walk up this little road, and then it turns to dirt, and then they have a huge overgrown overburden mound of just dirt and whatever.
Rocks
And that's where our bathroom was for this place. It's off property, so whatever. So I turned the corner, and as soon as I turned the corner, this 8 to 9 foot black mass is sitting there looking at me with red eyes, and I just went, nope, and turned around and I walked away. They're like, that was quick. I go, don't have to go anymore.
Yeah.
We gotta go. Go slowly. Walk. Don't run,
Yeah.
but get to the fucking car.
Yeah. Well, I am a firm believer that. Well, I mean, I do feel that there are some circumstances where running is okay. Um, a cemetery is not one of them.
Mm.
And the one time that I can say that was a good time to run was, and again, this is the Wabasha Street Caves. For as messed up as that place is, I still don't understand why I kept going back in my younger days. But there was this one cave that was called the Screaming Cave. And what it was that it had an opening on two sides of a little outcropping. And then inside was this huge cavern, and there was three more caves that went off further into the bluff.
Okay.
And on a good day, when the wind comes by, the wind will come through those two openings, and those three in the back will act like resonators. So it sounds like there's voices in this cavern. And
Yeah,
if
yeah.
the wind comes in fast enough or hard enough, it'll sound like a screaming. Well, they tried to get rid of it, and they blasted the canopy down. And we were going there looking at the ruin, and we're climbing down, and I look up, and I swear I'm not 100% sure, but in my mind, I saw cloaked figures standing on the rim, looking down. And I start to panic. I'm like grabbing my buddy around. I'm like, dude, you got to get me the fuck out of here. We need to get out of here. There are people standing on the rim. And he says he saw them too. So we start walking back to the van. And Jody, who is 6'5", 6'6", about 250 pounds. I mean, it's just a big son of an ogre, basically. And as we're walking down the street, we hear this heavy thump, and we turn around, and it's Jody hauling ass down this road behind us. And then, like 10 seconds later, we hear what sounds like a stampede. That's the other 13 of our friends that was with us running up behind him as well, because they saw these people standing around the rim of the blasted canopy. So yeah, that was the last time I said, the last time I was there, and I said I will never go back. But then 30 years later, a couple years ago, I brought Neil back up there. I'm like, I don't want to find the altar. Please don't let me find the altar. And son of a bitch, that's the only cave I find.
Well, that sounds like what we ran into at the Hessfield, the Robbins Trail that we did for the Global Ghost Hunt this past April. We went out, and if you remember, I don't know if you watched the video, but there is a creek that runs, through the middle of this trail.
Mm.
And we were walking down, and there's a soccer field, like huge park area for sporting events, and they even have this little skate park there. And we were walking down the trail, same way we were walking for the Global Ghost Hunt, and we saw a light that was just kind of misplaced. And they do have bathrooms down in the main field area, but
the park is closed after dark.
Yeah, and we weren't that far down. Like, it's a pretty good walk until you get to you can see it, because there's all woods.
Right.
And we're like, that's kind of odd. So the team, we all went, and we're sitting there looking and trying to figure out where this light source was coming from. Maybe somebody snuck down there or whatever.
I thought it was a jogger.
Yeah, she thought it was.
Because there's different spots where you can get on the trail and jog down. I was like, oh, well, maybe it's a jogger who just pulled off to go to the bathroom or something, and they put their light down.
Yeah, because this light wasn't moving. So we're like, okay, that's kind of weird. So we all walked down through, and then we started thinking, we didn't see anybody, didn't see any outlines, didn't see the light moving. And then we started thinking the elemental side. Is it this? Is it that? We were starting
Faye.
to look, whatever.
I thought Faye.
And because there is some Faye activity in that area.
Very small.
But we couldn't figure out where this was coming from. So I told the team, because you had to go down a little embankment, I was like, just hang out for a second. I'll get a little closer, see what I can see or whatever. And as soon as I got down to the embankment, all of a sudden, all of us started hearing this chant. And what was really interesting about it is, well, it sucks because none of us thought at the time to turn on a recorder. But it sounded...
And they've done that.
It sounded like Latin to me, and I even asked the guys, I go, do you hear Latin? They're like, yeah, kind of. And I was
And
like,
of course, me, who's the only one on the team that knows Latin, they all look at me and is like, is that Latin? Do you understand it? I'm like, I took 3 years of Latin. They taught me the basic of how to read it, not how to fucking speak it.
so
Yeah.
what it ended up being was Latin. It was, but it was
Really,
it was
old.
chanting in it was in reverse.
Yeah, it was backwards.
They were saying it backwards,
but it was
and
also really old.
it was. And what was interesting is the closer I got to it, because me being me, I saw about at least seven figures, and they were all standing around this light. And it wasn't a fire. It wasn't a flat. I can't hard to describe what it was. And it almost looked like a neon light. And as soon as I saw them, the chanting stopped. I started backing out, and something started chasing us. The entire team. So it chased us. All of us started running.
No, not all of us. Who's the one person that doesn't run?
Well, yeah.
Me. I was just walking. I was like,
she's walking. The rest of us are like,
everybody's
no,
like,
fuck this.
if it gets you, you're gonna be in trouble. I was like, if it gets me and I die, oh well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then I can go ahead and strangle them.
But the thing is whatever this thing was, would not cross the creek. Nope. It stayed on the opposite side of the creek.
Like the ring race from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they resembled.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't cross the threshold of the creek. So once we got across the bridge, they wouldn't go any further than that. Because the creek runs right down the middle of the bridge.
I wonder.
So I said to Matt, I was like, that kind of reminds me of the ring race from Lord of the Rings.
I kind of wonder if that's one of those, like, elementals that also have their own sense of boundaries, and that the creek represented a line that it could not cross.
Well,
otherwise it was in somebody else's territory.
Well, see, here's the problem with the history in this area.
Yeah, I didn't think of that either.
Right. The Cherokee and the Susquehanna tribes, Native American tribes, split that area.
Right down the middle.
So I'm not sure where the boundaries would lie, but I mean, that creek is not man-made. They made some things they diverted it a couple ways, but
right?
For the most part, that's all natural.
Well, yeah, there's a dam at one point.
Yeah, there was a dam. There isn't now, but I mean, I'm almost wondering if maybe they used that creek to separate the two tribes. It would make sense.
Right.
So maybe it was something from, I would assume that would be the Susquehanna side. So I think Danville was part of the Susquehanna tribe, wouldn't that be?
Hold on. You're asking me history that I haven't looked up in a really long time.
Yeah. Here's a challenge for somebody. Spell Susquehanna. I can't even do it.
Yeah.
I can't either.
And we have some Native American words here in Minnesota that trip people up.
Yeah, Montour County and Danville is part of the Susquehanna.
That's what I thought.
Part of the Susquehanna tribe.
So yeah, I wonder if that was a territorial limit.
Raymond said something about a greater shades, and I was like, I didn't think about that.
I didn't think about it either. I don't know, but
we haven't seen him since.
No, we haven't seen the figures, and we've gone out there a couple of times. Saw a bear though.
Yeah.
Bear came out and was a big old black bear sitting there chilling while I was fishing.
Right.
I was like, you're not supposed to be here, Yogi. Get out of here.
When we went out with Danny, I seen a fox.
Yeah, but the foxes are cute. They're
yeah,
puppies.
Until you hear them. until you
hear him yell.
Until you hear him yell. So I didn't see this fox.
Creepy little fuckers.
I didn't see this fox at first. I heard the yelp, and I jumped. I was like, oh my fucking God. And then I seen it, and I was like, you little bitch.
How about, what's really creepy? Really creepy? You guys want an experience? Go hunting. Go
Yeah.
hunting early in the morning, like before the sun comes up, and listen to the foxes and the coyotes. That's creepy as shit.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't have, you don't have a blind. You're sitting out in the.
Well, I don't know. I kind of find something like that a little peaceful sometimes.
Yeah, it's all well and good until you stop hearing them. When you stop hearing them, that's a problem.
That
Oh,
means
yeah.
they found you.
hmm
You definitely don't want the coyotes to find you.
No.
Yeah. See, I live in Minnesota, so I've got some coyotes, bears, wolves, elk, ornery ass raccoon,
Trash pandas.
With trash
wendigos.
pandas.
Although, what's the scarier one for me is a skunk.
Skunks
Oh,
are
yeah.
terrifying.
You get a stinky kitty mad at you, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Skunks are terrifying.
Yeah.
Well,
There was one outside our building the one morning while I was at work. It was in the parking lot. And my aunt seen it. And she was like, "We're not leaving for break now." And we went back and sat in the kitchen. We refused to leave the building because there was a skunk in our parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
well, it's interesting that you mentioned skunk. And this is not exactly a funny story, but it's a bizarre one. On Halloween night in the 2000s, a kid was shot because they were mistaken for a skunk. They were wearing a black dress and had a white hat on that had a black tassel that just accidentally, hung off the back, or a
That's
black
a
and white
big
tassel.
skunk.
What's that?
That would be a big skunk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just the hat though that the guy saw because he couldn't, it was at nighttime, so the black dress disappeared. So he just thought he saw a skunk on top of a bush or something. Shot the kid 4 times.
Mm.
The kid lived. He's
That's
going
good.
through some tests to, make sure he doesn't have any lead poisoning or anything like that. But yeah, being shot while wearing a costume on Halloween night,
Well, I mean,
and it was his own cousin that shot him.
that kind of makes sense. I mean, I like to take out my paintball gun every once in a while, but that's just me.
Raymond, you're good until they act threatened. In Pennsylvania, that doesn't matter. If you see a skunk, you don't bother it. You don't go
Skunks
near
don't
it.
care here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're like our honey badgers of the U.S.
They will literally, if a skunk sees you, it's not, okay, let me see what happens. It's, here's my ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't
Well,
care.
I'll say this much. The other one that also kind of scares me. Well, it doesn't really scare me, but it makes me fear for my pets. Porcupines.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't have.
I've seen some of them pictures of them stupid ass dogs that don't know when to leave them fucking porcupines alone, and they come back and their face looks like an overused pincushion.
Mm-hmm. I like the bees. I like the ones that
Ours
get
is,
bit or stung.
The ones that make me afraid personally for our our indoor-outdoor cats, it's not skunks, it's possums.
Yeah, the possums out here.
We have
They're
a
mean little bastards.
bunch
Oh, yeah.
of possums in our neighborhood. And there
Yeah.
has been a couple times where the possums in this neighborhood have bitten a pet, and that pet has gotten rabies.
Yeah.
And the owner hasn't realized it till it's too late, and then they have to put the animal down.
The hell was that?
Yeah.
Huh?
I heard your dad yell.
He might have been yelling at Shiloh.
Is there another
She's
game
coming to
on?
eat today.
Not anything that he would be yelling about, I don't think.
Hmm.
Let me look.
Well,
Might have to go check that bee.
we're coming up at that hour point, so I'm going to ask one last question. What's the one thing you would not do on Halloween, and why?
Ouija board.
Why?
Too thin of a veil, I don't want to summon no demons.
Good point.
Piss off the Wicked Queen.
But that's an everyday thing. I'm talking about just Halloween alone.
You can't say Ouija board, I already said Ouija board. Because I know that's one of yours too.
Mm.
Actually, I don't know. That's probably the first question on a show that I'm actually stumped on. I really don't know. I'm one of those idiots. I'll do it. Let's go. Probably anything illegal. Cops are out in force.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess for me, it would have to be investigating any site that has an anniversary on Halloween.
I'd go.
Because
Oh, I'd go.
I'd go in a heartbeat.
sometimes I feel like those sites, no matter what you do, it's just going to keep happening because it's more of a residual or an imprint. But I also feel like sometimes other things can get caught up in that cycle of that repeating every year. Especially when you get these people that are out there, like Mackenzie says, fucking around with the Ouija board on Halloween night, not knowing what they're doing. So now something gets caught up in that loop. And it just seems to get kind of worse. I don't want to fuck around with that bullshit on. No.
Actually, I have an answer.
Uh-oh.
Did
What?
Raymond give you your answer?
No, actually. The only thing I would never do on Halloween is put up Christmas decorations because I would die.
Yeah.
That is instant death.
I mean, Raymond has a point there, too, because that's an old pagan and Wiccan tradition, and you do not blow out the candle of a jack-o'-lantern on All Hallows Eve.
No, I wouldn't put up Christmas decoration. You'd kill me.
It welcomes disaster into your home. So, people, if you light jack-o'-lanterns, do not blow out their candle until the following day. Even if it's a fake candle, don't turn that fake candle off either.
And
Right.
by the way, the reason for my answer is because she's avoiding it. That tells you how bad it would be.
There's people that do that
Yeah, but if I did it,
in our neighborhood.
if you came home on Halloween and you saw a Christmas tree, you'd kill me.
Would it be decorated with Christmas decorations?
Yep.
Then yes.
See?
Yeah, see, if I bring in anything Christmassy, my wife kills me because she can't stand Christmas because of she worked in retail most of her life. And being part Native American, she doesn't have very favorable memories of Christian.
Fair enough.
Which is why, and I think it's one of the reasons why her and I connect, because my ancestors were Vikings, and Vikings had a more peaceable agreement with Native Americans when they first came over before Columbus.
Which did happen, people.
Yes, it did.
And so, yeah, every time for Thanksgiving, we don't do Thanksgiving. We get together, and we're thankful for things, but we don't do the traditional Thanksgiving dinner. And especially on Christmas. Christmas, we do Indian tacos. And it's basically all the taco fixings on top of homemade fry bread. I know. You want to talk about dangerous? I mean, that's the kind of stuff for every Christmas, my wife almost has to get a wheelie to bring my ass out to the car.
Sounds like me on Thanksgiving.
Pretty much. I mean, I've gotten better.
I haven't.
I don't. Yeah. Well, see, I have to.
I probably should, but
Yeah.
food coma's my big tradition. I wear stretchy pants on Thanksgiving for a reason.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not saying people can't have cheat days. I mean, I have cheat days.
I have a cheat year. It's every year.
You just gotta eat in moderation. That's like the biggest thing that people do when they diet is they don't eat in moderation. They try like these fasting diets and like, oh, I won't eat for a couple days, or I'll go on the liquid diet, and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm finding that, like for me, I'll start my day off with one of my wraps, one of my healthier foods, and I work with that. Then I'll have something that's a little rich halfway through the day. And then sometimes I'll eat a light meal with my wife or I'll eat a full meal. But I break things up enough because I'm learning you don't have to give up food. You just have to regulate it.
Yeah.
Do you know
You
what
can
really
still have it every day.
Do you know what really helps? Health empowers you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, my aunt.
Yes, shameless plug, but also very true.
Well, it's like my Aunt Lisa says, even if you don't eat breakfast, eat something small.
Mm-hmm.
And then for lunch, you actually eat lunch. And then for dinner, you have another light meal. but you eat snacks in between there, so that way you're technically still eating something. She lost
Right.
almost 50 pounds doing it that way.
Come on, Raymond. I couldn't resist.
Okay, I'm gonna bring some of this up here.
Yes.
She
That would be
has.
fine. No, I don't have a black Christmas tree yet. I have yet to find one.
Untrue. Yo.
Yeah. And see, when I started making my wrap and I started replacing salt with other herbs and spices, I've managed to lose over 30 pounds in just under 4 months, which is about the maximum someone my age and my size can lose weight per week, which means I'm dropping just under 2 pounds a week.
Congrats.
A lot of walking.
Yeah.
Well, that's like me when I started my new job. How I lost maybe like 4 pounds, 5 pounds.
Yeah, and it happens. You don't even notice it.
Yeah. He's the one that told me I lost weight.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start wearing my pants and I start having to make my belt tighter and tighter and tighter. And I'm like, this is from walking from one end of the fucking building to the other.
Yeah.
Every day.
Well, see, okay. This is where that weird show gets weird. Today, this is going to sound fucked up, but I was talking to my wife and I think I was putting something in my pants and pulling my pants up or my short, and something didn't feel right. So I started grabbing my pocket, and then I started grabbing my body fat. I'm like I lost something. What the fuck am I looking for? And my wife was looking at me like, what are you? I'm like, I don't feel like I used to. And I'm just sitting there squeezing my fat like, I've got like 5 chips or something. It's just.
Yo, you're not alone. I do that shit too.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Raymond. I found them.
As long as I ain't got to look for my junk, I'm good.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
That
because
just means you're too heavy at that point.
Well, yeah, and honestly, what is so appealing about having to just grab that bad boy, hoist that sucker up, to just go to the bathroom?
Have at it.
Yeah,
Be like one of my coworkers. He's so heavy he has to sit to pee.
Yeah.
Because it's just too much of a hassle.
I can see that part. Because, after a while, for me, I don't know if any other guys do this. I know a few that do, but sometimes when you've been holding it for so long and a guy stands at the tub and goes, the release that happens, one hand is on the wall to stabilize it. Because I don't know what it is.
Sometimes
that's why
I use my head. I just lean my head against just, oh.
Yeah. Hold me up. I'm going out.
Mm-hmm. That's an instant pass out. That's like gone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that.
It's an amazing feeling.
Interesting conversation to be part of, isn't it?
It's amazing. Sometimes
I have interesting conversations with him regularly.
Oh, I'm sure.
Sometimes I sit just because I'm tired.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I've had enough. I'm just gonna sit here. Whatever happens, happens.
It's funny. We went to a bar the one time, and he got relatively tipsy. And this was the first time I ever seen him tipsy. Close to being drunk, but not drunk enough to not drive. And he's like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay. And he's gone for like 15 minutes. He's never gone to the bathroom for more than like maybe 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I send one of my friends in to go check on him, and here he's sitting in the stall.
I had my hand up on the side, just chilling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you doing? Just hanging out.
They were like, are you okay?
Yeah. I was just hanging out, just chilling. Every once in a while, I just gotta sit.
Yeah. Well, that'll be it for this show tonight. I appreciate you guys coming on. Before we split, any announcement or shout outs you guys want to do? Upcoming shows, things like that?
One thing I don't want to mention quite yet, but all I have to say is just pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got to say. Just pay attention.
I know what you're talking about.
Yep. And just pay very close attention to Parapost and everywhere.
Right.
And there is going to be some new merch. I'm going to be bringing out Halloween merch here shortly.
Please, for the love of God, people, buy the merch. It's cool. We work hard on making the designs.
All right. Well, speaking of which, the link for that merch is down in the description below. So if you want to take a look at his merch as well as Paranormal Consultant, and if I had known you were going to come on, I would have had some link for your channel as well. You want to give people a heads up on where they can find you real quick?
I have a YouTube and a Facebook page.
Under Creepy Cult.
Creepy Cult.
Okay.
It
Well, yeah.
is...
She's going to get a revision. She just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, I don't know when that's going to happen.
I have ideas, and sometimes I just don't tell her. I just do it. I'm like, here's your new stuff.
But
Yeah.
Including a new logo. She's got a new logo, too.
yeah, you want to look for that picture on both
Okay.
the YouTube and the Facebook. If you don't see the cat with the crystals and the two moons saying CC, you're not on the right page.
Yeah.
All right. And
stop it. I've got plenty.
yeah, well, I mean, come on. You know Raymond, he's never going to stop.
Oh, I know. Neither am I. But
Right.
thanks for having us on, brother. Appreciate it. And it may not have all been Halloween based, but it was definitely creepy.
Well, there's enough to make, some connection to Halloween, and we kind of took a little side journey. But I do have other shows coming up with more Halloween theme. For example, next week I will be doing a show on Samhain, the history of it, where it comes from, some of the beliefs behind it, and the time frame, because it isn't just October 31st, but it's also November 1st. And I will be doing some more shows, and I am going to have a Halloween extravaganza. Well, 2 Halloween extravaganza or special going on. So be sure to come by and check that out. If you haven't already, as I mentioned before, go down into the description below, check out all the links for both myself as well as Matt. Show some support, because you're not just sharing out my stuff, you're sharing out Parapost and everybody else that's associated with Parapost. And
100%.
yeah, and that's about it. So with nothing else left to say, be smart, be safe, and be kind to one another, because you never know, your one act of kindness might change somebody's life. And if you can't see the light, then be the light. And most importantly, just stay weird, bitches.